Well, good evening, and thank you so much for watching. So let's talk about networking. What is networking? It is this ability to connect with people for a specific purpose that brings you together. So if you understand what networking is, you can actually use it to fast track yourself in business. I'll give you a little bit of my story. I started off more in business in about 2019. It was actually a very low time in my life. I'd just gone through one of the most difficult times of my life when I was age 39. I was introduced to this idea of professional speaking. I didn't even know such an industry exists. One day I walk into this room and it's full of people who are like-minded. All of them speaking about motivation, changing the world. And I didn't even know that actually it's an industry that's about almost $380 billion. When I walked in there, they shared about what they've done, the steps they've taken, the frameworks that they had. And I learned this crucial thing about networking, that it helps you actually to fast track your own journey. That you don't have to learn everything the most difficult way yourself. That actually you can borrow from other people's experiences. And they began to share with me what they've done. It was through networking that I was introduced to the founder of the organization, for example, that I was introduced to the entire network of people who are highly successful. The next thing you know, I started my business. I got my first gig, my first company contract through one of the links from the association. But more than that, one of the meetings that I actually attended, I got one of my biggest clients who today has been so crucial in building my business. So, what is networking? I want you to think about 4 important components. The first one is this. It's about you as a person. It's about who you are. It's about your character. It's about what you know. It's about how you do things. The second thing is about what can you do? What experience have you got? How have you acquired that experience? What makes you unique? What makes you more valuable than the next person? The third thing that you've got to understand is this. It's about the potential client or the potential business partner or whatever it is that you need from a person, your target audience, for example. Do you know what their pain points are? Do you know how you and your experience can be able to help them to solve their problems? If you understand those 3 things, you, who are you, where do you come from, what is your character, what is your personality, what makes you attractive, what makes you unique. Secondly, what is about your experience. Thirdly, what can you do? And most importantly, what does the person that is sitting in front of you that needs your services, what do they need? What makes it harder for them to even understand what it is that you're offering? So it's a very simple framework. Normally I draw this diamond. At the top is me, at the bottom is the client, and on the side is what I can do, and on this other side here is why me? Why me as opposed to the next person? So, let's think about it. Here are some of the ways that, for example, you can network. The first thing that you would understand about networking is this. You have to have a 1-minute pitch. What's a 1-minute pitch? 1-minute pitch, you must use that framework that I've just given to you. Learn how to explain what you do as quickly as possible. For example, my name is Jabu Zwane. I'm a mindset development specialist, and I help companies to build mindset for success in leadership, emotional intelligence, effective communication, and high performance. So, see, I was able to explain what I do in a very short, less than 30 seconds. The second part is about, okay, what makes me unique? I've worked with over 50 different companies on 3 continents in over 10 different countries. I've helped countless companies gain success in what I've already mentioned. You see, very quickly I was able to get to that. Then the last thing is about, I see you, Mr. Client, are in this particular industry and you possibly are struggling with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is how I can be able to assist you. So the quicker you can get to how the client can benefit from your experience is crucial. 1-minute pitch. If you want to get more tips around that, you can actually go online and Google that. But I think I've just given you something that can be very helpful to you. The second thing that you got to understand is networking is as much about what you can get from whoever is there, but also what they can get from you. The biggest mistake that most people make is they concentrate so much in what they need to get. The unfortunate part of that is this: people attend networking sessions for themselves. And so if you are not able to show those people how they can benefit from what you have to offer, it becomes difficult for them to remember you. One of the tricks that I normally do is this: I make my introduction as short as possible, and as soon as I possibly can, I hand it over to the person next to me and say, tell me a bit more about you. I'm keen to understand what you do. I'm interested in how you got to where you are. I heard this very good quote, and I think it's such a powerful quote, where they said, people like to talk about themselves. That's the first thing. The second thing that people love the most is that they like to hear people talk to them about themselves. So you see how that works? People are interested in themselves more than they're interested in you. And you got to show me what it is about you that can help me to get out of whatever it is I'm struggling with. All right. Now, the other mistake that most people make is that having a long, drawn-out introduction. That's an absolute no-no. Now, what are some of the tips on how to then become a very good networker? As I've already said, have a quick introduction. The other thing that you must have is that you must have, if you've got a business card, make sure that your business card is very well designed. And for me personally, I'm not a big fan of business cards. I'm actually a big fan of, my name is Jabu Zwane, what is your name? When we're done, here is my number, put it in your phone, I put your number in my phone, and immediately send you a message. Hey, this is Jabu Zwane, we've met at such and such an event, it was great meeting you, I liked this about you, and I'm looking forward to this. You see, the same framework again. Even on the follow-up message that I send to the person after the networking event, I'm still giving myself an introduction. I still make it about them. I liked this about what you do. And then, of course, I also have to create some kind of an anticipation for future interaction. I am looking forward to us working together. I'm looking forward to learning a bit more about what you do. I'm looking forward to us changing a little bit of value. If you don't do that, it becomes very difficult for people to remember you. Don't know if you know about this, but there's something called the forgetting curve. Now, the forgetting curve suggests that people lose almost 85% of the information that they've learned within the 20 seconds of actually meeting you or of having gone through the experience. And then they start losing the memory of the experience. And so, by sending a text afterwards, by sending your profile to the person as soon as possible, you ensure that you stay within the mind or the memory of that person. And you know what? It makes it then easier for you to stand out. Because remember, when you're going through a networking session, number one, there are many people over there. There are many people there who are talking a lot about themselves, and there's quite a lot of activity as well. And the human brain can only be able to contain so much. There's only so much that we're able to retain in a very short space of time in a high activity environment. So find a way to stand out. So another thing that you must think about once you're there at the networking session is once you've gone, let's say, for example, you've attended one of those networking sessions where there's 1 minute. You sit together across a person, a minute or 2 minutes. You talk about what you do. Identify who it is that you want to talk a bit more about. And as soon as the networking session has been opened up to everybody to chat about, then make sure that you position yourself to go and speak to those people. Again, when you go and you have a discussion with a particular person that you have targeted, remember what I said, the biggest mistake that people make is to talk about themselves. Try not to talk about yourself and focus a little bit more on understanding what the person does. Because this is how it works. Once you have understood what the person does and what they need, then you are able to customize your product offering, your service offering, in line specifically with what that potential customer's needs are. Here's some very, very interesting data that you may have learned, that you may learn or that you may not be aware of about what networking is about. Did you know that LinkedIn research has stated that 85% of jobs, of professional jobs, especially on the C-suite level and up, those jobs, people acquire them through networking. People have had some kind of interaction prior to maybe an interview or even that job offer. When you understand that, you understand then how crucial it is that you learn how to network. Another research that I read about was the fact that about 27% of business transactions that get made, they're made again through networking. I've already explained to you my own personal experience. I'm actually thinking about one of the biggest clients that I've got right now, that had it not been for the personal interaction of the person that introduced me to them, who was my mentor, and I'll talk about that just now, that would not have happened. So one of the ways that you can network is through mentorship. Now, this is different from when you're going to a networking session where you've been invited. In fact, before I go on to that, let me wrap up by saying this. Find out in your particular industry events, networking events around what you do. For me as a professional speaker, I constantly go online to say what professional speaking events are available. I attend meetings where such things have been discussed. I try as much as possible to attend industry-related events so that I'm visible. Because you know what? Out of sight, out of mind. What you want to do is this. You want to make sure that when your potential client is making a decision about your specific service, that you're one of the companies or one of the people or one of the phrases that come to mind. So when they do the short listing, at least you get an invitation, at least you get a shot. But if you are not visible, it becomes very difficult for that. Mentorship. Mentorship has been crucial in helping me personally as a business person to grow, because it was through a few of my mentors that I was introduced to people that I would not have otherwise even had an audience with. If it were not for them, I would not be even where I am today. Coaching is one of the ways you can actually do that. Going online and being part of those platforms online where a specific focus on your industry, well, that focus specifically on your industry is also very crucial. And then most importantly, the thing about networking is that make yourself visible, make yourself accessible. There's absolutely no point in you having the most incredible product out there, but nobody can be able to find you, nobody hears about you, nobody knows anything about you. So, public events, go to them. Industry-related events, go to them. Public platforms that cover your particular industry, make sure you're part of it. Mailing systems that are part of industry, make sure you're part of them. Have mentors and be very good at building relationships, because ultimately people don't like to be called as connections. They prefer to have relationships, because the moment you say to somebody, "This is my connection," there's an element of feeling like I'm going to be exploited for what I have. I hope this was helpful to you in terms of giving you a framework about networking. Remember, it's about you. Where have you been? What's your character? What's your personality? Then it's also about what can you do? What is your experience? What makes you unique? What makes you authentic? What makes you distinguished among everybody else that's in the swimming pool or in the ocean? On the other side, it is about what can you do? What is your product? What does it solve? And how well does it solve it? And lastly, most crucially, it's about your client. How can your client benefit from what you've got? Thank you so much. My name is Jabu Zwane. I hope this was helpful to you. See you next time.